people get a bit confused when they get a brand new one of these Liquid Foot controllers. And so I thought, because there's quite a learning curve to begin with, I thought I would do a quick explanation of how this works, and how I use it and ways I look at it being. This is actually version 2 because I've just recorded something for the last half an hour and decided it's probably too waffly and not the best way to go about explaining it. So let me begin by saying we've got presets, which are basically individual sounds. You've got set lists, which is lists of songs, effectively. You've got pages, which is like button layouts, if you will. IA slots, instant access slot, as in like a stomp box thing, like an on or an off, a particular... It's not a sound, it's a switch of sorts, if you will. Sysx messages, because, yep, you can send out whatever you like. You enter various different things and control all sorts of weird and wonderful things. IA maps, which this is effectively where you've got IA slots. I'll explain IA maps a bit later, because basically what it is you can effectively reorder on the fly the numbering of your IA slots. So you can make, if you've got a distortion on and off, you buy a delay on and off button, say, by using IA maps, you can make that distortion on and off and that delay on and off be different numbers in different places or whatever, but let's not go too far down that road yet. Then you've got MIDI and groups, which that's your devices. Then you've got expression pedals, so that's your expression pedals. Global things, which are all of your... Unfortunately, my computer's a bit on the go slow. It's quite old and it doesn't like recording lots of things at the same time. So global things are various different things relating to the entire thing, and colours is basically in each of your little buttons has got an LCD. Hooray! One of the reasons why I love it. So I can be as forgetful as I like and I can do incredibly complicated things, but the button will tell me what it does. That's actually what all your backlight colours are. So you can have, say, all of your presets being purple, and you can have all, say, your IA slots being green when they're on, red when they're off, and you can have all your function things being like a yellowy colour or purple or whatever. So you can look at it and it's instantly obvious what does what. And if you then change page, i.e. your button layout, by it changing the background of those LCDs, it instantly makes it far easier to use. So, unlike last time when I went off explaining pages, I'm actually going to begin by saying, let's begin with presets, and then once we've made some of them, then I'll actually go into how we're going to actually then arrange them, because that seems a far more sensible way of doing it. So the first thing you need to do is sort out your MIDI devices. So let's look at what things we've actually got. So let's assume, oh, by the way, I don't use this with an Axe-FX or the other things. If you use an Axe-FX, this demo may explain all sorts of useful things to you, but there are all sorts of things. I mean, I've never got one, so I don't really know all the ins and outs, how they work. But there's all sorts of utility things for like assigning. You can auto-assign stuff. So some of that functionality I don't know about. But I, as a core MIDI controller, I know loads of things about all sorts of crazy fun ways that you can use this. So you may want to look at some of the more basic bits of how to use it with an Axe-FX if that's your bag. But let me begin by just saying I'm going to control an amp with it. I'm going to control say a reverb box and a delay for now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make things easier for me, I'm going to call this one amp. This one I'm going to call delay. This one I'm going to call reverb. So this is like a far more simplified version of my setup, where you can have an amp, which, I mean, my amp's MIDI controlled, it's a diesel, but it can you can get one of those MIDI to other boxes, which can switch your amp, but yeah, various manufacturers make them. But let's not worry about that. So I've got, so these are the MIDI channels, yeah. So what you can do, if you want all of your stuff all on one MIDI channel, you can have everything on Omni, or all on channel 1, say, and this could just be everything. Yeah, and all you need to do is worry about programming patches that go to everything, and then your amp will be on channel 1, your delay will be on patch 1, your delay will be on patch 1, your reverb will be patch 1. That's all fine and dandy. Then you can, when your amp's on patch 73, your delay's on 73, your reverb's on 73. Sometimes that could be a pain in the ass, because if, say, here I've got in the post at the moment, hooray, new pedal day tomorrow, I've got a Meris, what's it called? Meris, the name's escaped me now. Anyway, you can MIDI control that pedal, but it's only got 16 presets. So if I go up to preset 16, and then I go to the next one, and it tries to send preset 17, I'm stuffed. It's not going to work. So I like to, even though most of the time, the vast majority of my presets, when I'm on preset 76 or whatever, the amp's on 76, the delay's on 76, the reverb's on 76. Although I tend to have all these the same, it just gives you more flexibility if each one of your devices is on a separate MIDI channel. Yep. So I'm not going to go into that. If you don't know how that works, look it up in the details for each different device. I mean, for example, you take my diesel amp, that automatically comes set to Omni, so it will listen to any channel, incoming patch changes on any MIDI channel. So there's an easy way you can just, if you read the manual, you can find, so I've preset that to channel 1, so it will only listen on channel 1. And it then means as well you can recall a particular patch on one thing and not another. So for this example, yep, let's go with this. Let's say I am going to, because my little Meris, I forgot what it's called now. It's going to be fun tomorrow though. Anyway, that's only got 16 patches, so it doesn't cover as many patches, so I'll keep it simple with those 4 devices. So here, this is, as you may well know, some MIDI devices start at patch 0, and they do 0 to 127. Some things do 1 to 128. It's just how devices are. If you want, when you're on patch 1, if that makes your thing on patch, say it's on patch 0, and you don't like that, well, turn that on, and then it will make sure it's on patch 1. Yeah, and it says it's on patch 1, not patch 0, because of how digital things work. So that's that. This will automatically do bank changes, so you can actually send presets higher than 128. Yeah. So I'm not going to go off into that. This isn't a MIDI tutorial. At the end of the day, knowing what your individual MIDI devices do, that's down to you. These things are common between other different, any MIDI foot controller or other things, so don't want to dwell on them. So those are basically your devices. I've got 4 devices here, so I'm kind of good to go for that. For now, I've got the 4 devices to assign things to. So let's go and have a look at making some presets. So one thing I didn't actually say at the beginning of this is, if you try and stretch this around and resize it, if you're on a Mac at least, some of these buttons will go a bit weird. So I always end up, I can't remember, one of these default things makes it not go a bit weird. The other thing I do as well is I turn on restrict to one open editor at a time, because if that's off, every time you click one of these, it will open a new tab thing. Another thing to note as well is, I think when I first installed this editor, some of these were all over the place. And if you want to drag them around, if you drag that to there, then you can see when I change to, say, a different, if I go to songs, it's not quite in the same place. So these may be all a bit scattered around. If you move them once, then they stay in the same place. By the way, if I do that, it'll turn them off and I'll have none there. But yeah, if I don't have this ticked, restrict to one open editor, you can have loads of things and they cover each other up. So if you've got a big screen, you can actually turn that off and you can actually get them down and all the rest of it. I actually reduced my screen raise for the purposes of doing this demo. That's up to you. Depends how big your screen is. I just find it's nicer and easier to have that on one screen at once. Anyway, I'm going off topic here. So let's get back to presets. So now I've just had another thought. No, I'll come back to that. So let's have a preset here. Oh, by the way, there's a quick list here where you can turn it on and off with this cue list here. Oh, off. That makes that go away. I think you can actually drag it out as well. So this means here you can quickly jump to, by double clicking these, you can quickly jump to different presets. So I have that, preset 11. It saves you clicking all your way up using the arrows. You can also jump to, say, IA slots and other different things to check when you're programming various bits and pieces. So let's make a patch. So command programming, this here is the main what the preset does. So let's begin by let's have clean. So this is the full name, so you can give it a big spangly lovely name of exactly what it is that means everything you want to know to you. It will be the thing that appears in the top big LCD, and you can obviously see it in the editor. This here is what it will be if it's a preset when you've got the little LCDs above each of the button. So I'll have clean on there. I might make that bigger. That might be kind of, this could be a song specific clean, so I might call this such and such whatever song clean, and I might have a different whatever song clean and a different blah 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 song clean. But I'll just want, when I'm on that song, I just want that stomp box button to say clean. I don't care what song it's in. I know what song I'm in. So that's what you want to see on your little LCD, pretty much. So let's make a clean. Let's have a crunch. Let's have a classic clean crunch and crunch and a lead. How's that for original? Well, lead. So at the moment this will do nothing at all because the command programming does nothing at all. So what we want to do to begin with is, let's say on here I'm going to do a MIDI command. So this here, that's the list of all the things you can do. So you could do all sorts of things with all the videos I could make explaining what all these do. But yeah, to begin with, we want to send a patch change command. Yeah, so if I want to send a MIDI note, a MIDI patch change, a MIDI CC thing, I want a MIDI command. Yeah, so that's this. Then what channel am I sending it on? I want to send it to the amp. Yeah. And what do I want to do? Do I want to send a MIDI CC? No, I want to send a MIDI program change. Yep, it's a PC program change. CC, that's for... Hopefully you understand that a CC message is like with continuous controller, so it's like a knob, like a wah pedal, like an expression pedal thing, whatever. Whereas a program change, a patch change, that's what you're normally going to do if you've got a rack of MIDI toys, or you've got something like a Strymon timeline or a Big Sky or whatever like I have, or you're changing an amp, then that's a program change. Yeah. So here I'm going to put that in as I'm going to make this beat. Let's put this in. As I said, you can use that +1 function and thing, but I want 001 to be 001. Yeah. So that's going to change my amp. That's on channel 1, the MIDI channel amp. Yeah. But I want to change my delay thing to the same. Yeah. So I want a MIDI thing, and I now want to change my delay. I also want that to be program change 1. and I want is it gone? Another MIDI command, and I want that to be reverb, and you can see a pattern here, aren't you? Whoops, that's a note on. So yeah, you can do note ons. I'm going to have a program change, and I'm going to have 001. So what's going to happen now? This is going to send the amp, the delay and reverb, all the program change 1. It's not going to send anything to the Meris at the moment because, well, I'm not sure what patch I might want that on yet. So that's what preset number 1 will do, is set all 3 of those devices to number 1. So now we can go, oh, sometimes it's a bit jumpy inside the jumper patch. This editor, but yeah, it's a feature. So here, now once again, I've got my amp. Now I want a program change. And now I want this to be 002. Yep. And now I want this one to be a MIDI command. And what you're thinking here, I know it, is you're going to be thinking, oh no, I don't want to buy this. That'll be horrendous. Have I got to do this on every patch? Because obviously, if you go up and you've got here, you've got hundreds of presets and they're all empty. Well, that's where, if you want to program like I do, where I said, in general, I want to always have patch 1 to be 1. I want to be patch 2 to be 2, but not necessarily to every device. So I'm saying I'm not setting the Meris to be patch 1 on every single thing. What you can do here is you click on here, you go to utilities. Ooh, a quick repeated command programmer. If I go into here, I haven't actually used this for ages, so programming row 1. Yep, so the top row, I want for presets 1 to 384 from songs, auto increment them. So I want function. I told you I haven't actually used this for a while, so I want this to be presets 1 to there. I want to make the command a program change, and I'm going to start with 001. Yep. And I'm going to if I don't turn this on, then it will put program 1 in every patch. So I can actually make it, if I want to, make it send program 1 for every patch. But that's not particularly useful to me. I'm going to make that auto increment. Yep. So I want presets on there. What do these do? If on, we'll search all presets for matching criteria. Yeah, that says the same thing. IF on. Oh, well, those messages, hovery messages, aren't right. But I turn them off because what I want to do, I'm looking at presets. I want to make all the presets from 1 to 384, auto increment this on programming row 1. So auto program. Ta-da! Right, now if I actually go program complete, hooray! So now if I go programming row 2 and I set that to delay, and I want that to be program change 1, and auto program that again. Ta-da! And row 3, obviously be careful with this. Be careful if you make complicated things. Save them under different save them under different versions as well. I've got hundreds of versions. You can do some incredibly clever stuff with this. You can spend ages making some of the most unbelievably cool ways of using this thing, but the last thing you want to do is accidentally click something, auto program it, and go, oh no, I've totally overwritten things. So I've just done that and that. Did I press that? I think I pressed that. Let's press it again. Hang on. Oh, guess what? I didn't change this. So I've just overdone line 3 with that. Right, there we go. See, a prime example where you can bugger things up if you don't pay attention. So that now, hopefully, if I go here, I've got amp, delay and reverb on 111. I have it on 2. I have it on 3, I have it on 4, 5, all the way up. So if I go to preset number 143, there's ended at 127. That's because my devices are only set to go up to 127. You can see if you go here, maximum preset 128. That's probably because I haven't started at 0. So yeah, this is the old +1 thing, you know, I mentioned. But my genuine point being, if I go to say preset 20, they're all on 20. Yep, so that's a super useful feature in the editor. If you always want a set of things, always going to be, say, your amp, your delay, your reverb on things. And if then I actually decide, hang on, I actually want to go and make on a particular preset number 15, I want that to actually be 27 or something else, then I can go and edit it individually. But I would recommend, because especially when you've got a controller that does this many things, having your devices on separate MIDI channels, as you broaden your horizons, you can go more and more crazy. Just being able to go, right, I want that device to be on that channel, or that device to do that thing. The other good reason of using different MIDI channels is, if say I've got a delay pedal here and my expression pedal, I've got an expression pedal that does reverb depth, say, or delay depth. If these are all on channel 1 and I'm just using Omni mode where that program change button sets all 3 of those devices, if I set up a nice expression pedal on one of them, if that expression pedal on my delay is, say, reverb mix, if it uses the same CC on, say, as for delay mix on this pedal as it does for reverb mix on here, that 1cc pedal will make both of them change at the same time, and I'll be totally stuffed. I can never control one individually. So yeah, that's another really good reason why you really want to have all of your devices on separate channels. Otherwise, it's gonna stitch you up sooner or later. So that's worth doing. And then obviously I can have, say, I might have it so that on here I can then have, on this, I might have a MIDI command, and I might make my Meris on this patch do a program change to number 2. So I might have that on there. I might have not changed the patch on here, and then I may have on patch 1, say, I may have that thing do a program change of 1. Yeah. So because I've only got 16 patches, I might say never use that thing, or just I want to leave it alone when I'm on my patch 2. But this then means that I always am changing my delay, my reverb and all the rest of it. Sometimes I'm changing this. So what we have there is a basic set of patches. Yep, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, what we get to in a minute is how we're going to lay them out and stuff. I mean, I'm wondering, should I do this in a multi-part video? How long? Yeah. No, solid. Let's go for the whole beast. I should probably go to bed in a sec. So, let's have a quick look down here. So, initial IA states, these are how your IA slots work. So I generally, I may leave some of these because it's gonna get more complicated. So unfortunately my sound card audio packed up. It's being dodgy at the moment. It's got old and gone intermittent. So anyway, hopefully that won't happen again too soon. So we got the commands. Cool. These I will leave. You can generally leave these on they currently are for now. I'll come back to that now. So that's my presets. Now, one thing I'll mention here is these here are your IA slots. Now you can have it. So these IA slots, as I mentioned, these are like stomp boxes. So you could have it so that when you change a particular patch here, it will set a particular stomp function depending what your MIDI device does. Yeah. So it's probably a good idea I'll put this Meris in, because I can do a lovely example of that. So let's have a quick look at let's pop over to Meris. What's that? Aha, right, here's the Meris manual. Let's have a quick look in here. So this pedal here, Meris Enzo, that's it. So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to control this via MIDI. Now I want to be able to switch this on and off. Yep, I can record patches, but I want to turn it on and off as well. So if I go and have a look in the MIDI CC tables, because a lot of the time it'll be bypassed, I'm not going to be making synth things all the time. This here has a bypass function. So all these here, you've got 0 to 127 and that to do your expression foot control-y thing, whatever you want. And then some stuff like this, if it's a CC toggle, the bottom numbers are bypass, the top numbers are enable. Yep. So this is effectively the turn it on and off setting. Yep. So if I go and have a look with this in a similar way, one of the main things I use this for is I have a whole load of pedal switchers. Now, if you take all sorts of anything with like CC toggle switches, like a prime example is my I've got an RJM mini effects gizmo. I've got the Voodoo Labs pedal switcher, that's the one. The more modern one, the older one, you can actually make the older one work with this, but there's a lot of fiddly workarounds with it, which if you really want to know, with the old 4-button one, ask me and I will explain it. But there's all sorts of weird boot up configury things to do with that. But yeah, all of those I can actually set up CCs that do on-off toggles for all of those individual buttons. So I can have it that in any patch it will set specific analog stomp boxes on and off for that thing. Similar, that's like the I forget what it's called. They've got a rack version of it. So if you want to use this front of the stage and have a big rack full of pedals at the back, you can switch all of them. I would generally do with IA slots. So anyway, going off topic, here on CC14 it will be, let's use 0 and 127. Yep. So CC14, 0 and 127. So what I can do is, let's go into an IA slot, and this, I'm going to make this Meris on off. Yep. Meris on. Yep. On off. Can I get an on off in there? Meris on. That'll do. Solid. Right. So this thing here, I want a function. It's going to be a MIDI command again. It's going to be on the Merisy channel. Meris. And I want a CC. And if I make that CC 0, that's off. Oh, this is the on command programming, by the way. This is the bypass off command programming. So if I now go into here and have another MIDI command, and I make on the Meris channel number 4 and a CC, and oh no, actually 0's off, 127's on. Yep, 127. Yep, cool. So on off thing. So if you actually look in my my for where I've got all my Voodoo Labs pedal switcher, I've actually got my first 8 IA slots, loop 1 on off, loop 2 on off, loop 3 on off, and so on. And so I've put in all of the different CC commands on my Voodoo Labs pedal switcher channel. So we have an IA slot. Similarly, you could do this in it. I mean, if you've got something like a like an Axe FX type thing. I mean, as I say, that's got all sorts of auto program functions. So if you're doing with an Axe FX, there's probably a whole load of other, but initially more useful tutorials where you sync the thing up and what's on there will automatically show up in your pedals and all, on your Liquid Foot. But yeah, what I'm doing, I'm very much doing separate, more complicated by the time I've done all of these things. But to begin with, just basic non-synced things. There's all sorts of these sync effect types and all the rest of it. These all relate to using like things like Axe FXs where they got two-way comms back and forth. So anyway, my point being, on this I've got an on-off, and I've got the on being on, I've got the off being off. Yep. And oh shit, I've put it all in the wrong box, haven't I? Don't be an idiot. Don't know what I've said. I want it CC14 is bypass, and that's the value. Yep. So I actually want this should be CC number 14. 127. Yeah. How not to program a Liquid Foot with me? So CC14 off. Yep. So it's CC number 14 on off. Yep. Cool. So now if I go back to my presets, I can have, say, here, at the moment, it won't do anything with any of my IA slots. So, well, let's do a better example here. Let's make this be Synthy 1, because the Meris is a Synthy pedal, in case you don't know. Synth 1, and then let's make that one Synth 2. Synth 2. Synth 2. And what I'm actually going to do now is MIDI command. What I'm going to do, because this makes more sense, I'm going to put the Meris here on program change 1, because as I say, it's only got 16 patches and I'm not going to be using it a lot of the time. Oh shit, let's call that 2 for the sake of making it sensible. So that's going to be patch 2. This one here, I'm going to make MIDI command. I'm going to make that the Meris. Whoop, Meris. The Enzo. So that's going to be 1. So what I've actually got now is I'm going to have here, I don't need that. If I hit delete, I'll take that out, because I don't need to. If I'm not using it, I can make it change it, but not have it in. So what I'm going to have here is, so patch 1 will just be my, I'll go away, escape. Right. So patch 1 will be my clean. Patch 2 will be my crunch. Patch 3 will be my lead. Patch, whoops, jump one. Feature. Patch 4 will set my Meris to patch 1 of that, and patch 4 of everything else and all my other bits and pieces. And patch 5 will have patch 2 of this. But this won't necessarily be on or off. This will just be in whatever state it was last in. So this is the point here, is when I've got this on, I want to make my IA slot here be on. So when I'm on patch 5, it will automatically press that CC and switch my Meris on. On this bank here, oh, that's preset 6, I overshot. On this one here, I want it to turn it on. So when I'm on patch 4 or patch 5, it will, as soon as I go to that patch, it will automatically switch the Meris on. Yeah, and put it on. I've got a different one, which is why I sound less compressed and probably slightly further away. So hopefully that's not too bad. Yeah, if I turn my head too much, can't hear me. Anyway, let's continue with where I was. So what I've got here is now on patch 4 or 5, it's turned the Meris on. If I go to patch for any of these ones, at the moment it's doing nothing. Off means it does nothing effectively. So if it's on, it will leave it on. If it's off, it will leave it off. Well, what I actually want to do is make this click twice. Now it's on bypass red. So that means it's, as it says in the IA slot here for this IA slot 1 Meris, it will do bypass off. So it's basically turning off my Meris Enzo on every time I'm on these presets. So that one, it will be off. This one, it will be off. This one, it will be off. Now, one thing is, if you hardly ever use this, what you can do is, if you got it on bypass, you can right click it, and if it then does copy IA slot's initial state to all other presets. So I can actually, if the vast majority of my patches I'm going to have it off, then if I press yes, it will copy that in a similar way. If I say go to patch 21, it's off in all of them. Now, obviously, if you want to do that copy to everything, it's going to be a damn sight easier. If I have randomly scattered up to preset 100 or so, a whole selection of ons and offs, it's by far easier to send it as bypass to begin with, before you then start programming the ones you want it on for. So now I've done that. Obviously, this one here, I have bypass on there too. Put that on and put that on. I think block, I can't actually remember, I never use it. I think what block does is, because you can have these IA slots as buttons, if it's on block, it will lock that out, so you can't, even if you've got a button to turn it on and off, you can't actually access it. Yeah. So let's have that's the basics. I mean, as I say, if you look at my full rig setup, I've got loads of IA slots down here. Some of them are all sorts of weird and wonderful things later on, which are very specific, because in this IA slot, these I might have buttons that send something to a specific pedal to turn this on or turn that on, or something like that. I mean, you can use, I mean, say for example my Strymon Timeline and Big Sky, you can actually turn them on and off all the time. I actually just use presets where the mix is set to nothing, because it's just easier, and I can just program stuff on the fly without having to open the editor and go, do I want it on for this patch? Do I want it off for that patch? I can just be on in the effects. I can just have it that in there's effects blocks are off. So say if you had a multi-effects unit, it may be easier, rather than trying to put some bypass command in there, you might want to just have all of the effects turned off and you recall said blank patch. But that is your basic my point being, I'll actually have all of the things that I regularly want to turn on and off in the vast majority of your patches. That's what I put first. So if you look at my guitar rig, where I've got Voodoo Labs pedal switcher, because I've got 8 switches with 8, well, I've actually got an RJ Mini Effects gizmo for another 5. I've got all those first 13 slots are whether specific analog effects are on or not. So I actually have the first set all set as my loops. All the weird and wonderful esoteric things or strange things or other weird stomps I might want in a particular patch, I'll have them in the higher numbers, because I always, in every single preset, I want to be saying I want all of these loops off, but I might want, say, this fuzz pedal on, or I want that fuzz pedal, like this chorus pedal or whatever on. So I may actually explain that later if more people want to know about it, and if I do a few of these and people are actually liking them, then I may actually go for a full on, here's the entirety of our my rig works if you want like a 5-hour video or something ridiculous. But at least if you understand these basic bits, then I won't need to do a 5-hour video. I can just fill in the gaps. This here, I've got a set of 5 patches. Hooray! So the main thing you need to know now is, what am I going to do with all these presets? What am I going to do with these IA slots? Let's because these are just esoterically numbered things. They're not in any particular order yet. So what we need to do is we need to make a page. So we can actually, a page, as I said, this is our button layout. So now, what are we going to do with our page? Well, I want some form of bank up, bank down type arrangement. So let's say on my left hand 2 buttons I'll have an up and a down, and I'll have some presets here. Yeah, so if I have this one, I'll take well, I actually started making a worse video of this. I can't remember what I explained in it, what I've said yet in this one. But yeah, what I'm going to do for the purposes of this explanation, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to pretend I've got a Liquid Foot Junior, yeah, and that's got 8 buttons. Yep. So if you've got the Liquid Foot 12, you've got 12 buttons. If you've got a bigger one, see, these here are the first 1 to 12. If I click here, it goes across to the next set, and you've got this and that, and you can so one of the things with the Liquid Foot is you can have various expanders. So I actually have 2 Liquid Foot Juniors next to each other, because then I get 2 by 8 instead of 3. If it wouldn't fit on my board, I may in later videos actually show you my board and all of its stuff. But yeah, but the general point being is that whatever Liquid Foot you're using, these are all effectively virtual buttons that are all there. It's just that if you say you've got a Liquid Foot Junior, you're only seeing these 8 at once. What you'll actually get is, let's point out, if I go to global on my device, on my Liquid Foot Junior, it says physical button, page button, start value 1. This means when I have my Liquid Foot Junior, when I go to my page, it will start with button 1. So it will be this 8 effectively. Where I mentioned I've got an expander, I've got a second one. On my expander, I actually say you could make it so that it starts at button 9. Yep, so one Liquid Foot Junior looks at this, the next one looks at 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it would be 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, for the ease of programming, because I've got 2, I figure I'll use 1, 4, 5 to 8 in those 2 rows. Then I actually use 13 to 20 in the next one, because it just makes more sense to me. If I can click on that, and that's my first Liquid Foot, that's my one that says an expander. So, and that just means when I program my expander in my global menu, my master will be the master one. Where I think that's just this type sync device. No, it's not that. What am I looking for? Where's it gone? It's moved since one of the older versions. I don't know. Where's that gone then? Of connection. Yeah, no, it is that. Sorry. Yeah. So here, if I say this is a master, that means it's my master device. And that starts at button 1. If I've got an extra expander, then in the programming for that, you actually don't, if it's an expander, you don't actually need to program anything in the expander, apart from you just need to set it to be an expander, and that in my second one, I'll make it start on button 13 effectively, and then whenever it's plugged in, it will get all of the patches and stuff will synchronize over from the master device, and it will start, it will start from button 13, so my expander will be whatever buttons I've got on here. I can go off more into expanders later, but let's just concentrate on one device. Did I have that on master? Yeah, master, starting at button 1. So what I'll do here is I'm going to put in, I need some buttons that hold my patches. Yep. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to put in a preset, and that will be preset B01. Now you'll notice this says B01. That's because it's bank 01. It's not preset 1. It may be preset 1. If you're in the bottom bank, it will be preset 1. So I'll have a preset 2. Yeah, and let's have a preset 3. And this one here, I'm going to make a sorry, I was just trying to think one step ahead of what I'm going to explain next before I describe this in such a horrible way I have to backtrack. So I'll have preset number 5. So what I'm going to get here is 5 presets. Yep. If I click on this here, if I'm not mistaken, no, not that. I thought let's not worry about that for now. Right, so what we've got here, we've got 5 presets. This is our page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call this main. So this will be my main page. Yeah. And so as I mentioned, don't forget this is my button layout of how my buttons are going to be. So this is main page. It's popped up here because it's on pages. So got 5 presets. That's blank. Those are blank. And this page will pop up first, page number 1, because if you go in global, this says power up, start on page 1. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do here is I can have, this will automatically have presets 1 to 5. Now, if I here go for a function, I can put in here a function, and I want, if I go bank down, yeah, and then this one, I have a function, and I have this as bank up. Now, what it means is when I go, this will use presets 1 to 5. If I hit bank up, it will then use 6 to, can't count, 6 to 10, 6 to 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I can count. 6 to 9. Bank up again. You'll have 10 to 14, and so on. And so I can happily sit going up and down banks till the guys come home. And well, hey, I've effectively made a MIDI controller where I go up and down banks, like how a lot of your classic MIDI controllers work. Now, the annoying thing with that is, say in this thing, I want my clean crunch lead and all the rest of it. Say on one particular song, I want preset number 39. What, am I going to go all the way up here to get to preset 39? Keep hitting bank up? That's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to do that. What I really want to do is have it set up so that when I'm in a particular song, I might always want clean crunch and lead, but I might want some different buttons here, say, for the particular song, or I might want a different clean crunch and lead. So what I'm going to quickly go on a detour here and actually go off into song mode and explain that. Now, if you go and look at songs here, these are the preset definitions. We're in this particular song 1. So let's have this being, let's call this, let's call it AC/DC, for example, say whatever you want it to be called. And here I might want that to be clean. Let's double click it. And then here I might want that to be crunch, and this to be lead, and oh, missed, lead, and this to be the highly unlikely for AC/DC Synthy 1, and this one here to be Synthy 2. And this then means when I got this song, that'll be button 1, that'll be button 2, that'll be button 3, that'll be button 4, that'll be button 5. Cool. Well, that's you're thinking, well, what have they done? That's exactly the same as he had. But what I can do is then in the next song, I can make this one be crunch. One thing here that'll be easier is let's just go to here and have this one here, and let's go copy, and let's go up one, and let's go paste, and let's go up another one and go paste, and let's go up another one and go paste. So we've all got these that are the same, but if we go and find this one here, now this one here, let's make this one Bon Jovi. We're going classic rock today. Bonge. And then this one here, we might make this, let's make this death metal, death, and this one here will have lullaby. So lullaby. So what we've got here now is all of these songs have got the same 5 buttons. Yeah. But I can now actually do, when I use, say, this thing, well, you need more presets to make this make sense. But let's go and have Synthy 2. Let's have this. I can make this one here be spacey delay. Yeah. Spacey. I'm not going to bother making sensible things here. Go away, hobby box. And then this one here might be big haul one. Big haul. And then this one here, this one can be evil fuzz. So, and this one here can be evil. You only get 8 letters because these ones here have to fit in your little LCD, so I would call that evil fuzz like that. And I might have a pedal switcher here, so I might actually have an evil fuzz that patch. Let's pretend I've got a IA slot, and then let's make this here. This is going to be a MIDI command to a 5th device, which is, say, a pedal switcher, and say CC number 69. That might turn on an effects loop. Say, yeah, oh shit, what am I doing? I'm editing the wrong bloody. I want a blank one. Silly idiot. Delete. I want a new IA slot, and that there will be fuzz. Oh, fuzz. Pedal loop. Oh, I can't spell. This one here, then that will be, say, fuzz. Oh, fuzz. And that one there, this might be a particular. This one might be on a device 5. I've got pedal switcher now. I've bought a new bit of kit for my board, and this might be CC69, and it's 127 for on. And then the off command would be MIDI command, and it will be this same device. If obviously I can go and name it, and this would be CC69 and off. Yeah. So this is newer, some new fuzz pedal loop thing I've got now, and so if I go back to my presets, what I'll do, I'll go back to all of these things here, and what I'm actually going to do is, if I make that bypass on everything and copy that, now the fuzz pedal's off in all of my patches apart from here. When I go to Evil Fuzz, this, I want to turn it on for that. Yep. So hopefully you get that principle from earlier. If I go to spacey delay, it's off. This will switch in that device, turn on this loop. If I say I go to here and have the synthy one, it's turning on the Meris, it's turning off the fuzz. Yep, because these are individual things. Whilst all the time, every preset I go to, it will load up the patch for my amp, for the delay and the reverb. Yep. So sorry, I've gone off on a slight tangent here. Back to the songs. So here I can have it so that when I'm doing lullaby, I could make it. One thing I tend to do is, because I always want clean, crunch and lead, I don't want to confuse myself. So I tend on pretty much all of my patches to have, I actually have heavy crunch then clean. No, sorry, heavy clean then crunch. But yeah, since most stomp boxes do clean, crunch and then lead in some form or another, you may well want to do it this way around. So if I'm in this song, effectively this means my patches 1 to 5 are those. If I'm in death metal, I might not want my synthy sound. If I click on here, I can go and have Evil Fuzz. Yep. And then if I'm on here, I might want that one there to be Evil Fuzz, and this one to be, say, Synth 1. Yeah. So hopefully, as you can see here, a song is actually, it's good to think of a song as more a layout of presets. Yeah. So then if I go there, I might have this one here. I might think, oh, I've gone past the ends of my songs. Let's have that. Synthy 1. I have Synthy 1, Synthy. Well, maybe my big haul is a specific kind of clean that I want to use. Just for Bon Jovi, for example, I can actually put in my big haul there instead. Yeah. So what I'm then doing is, when I'm changing songs, I'm changing effectively what presets 1 to 5 are. Yeah. Well, it says here, song preset definition. And I'm changing my button layout. So if I now go to my pages, if I'm on song AC/DC, on the vast majority of my songs, they'll all be clean, crunch, lead, possibly the synthy one, possibly the holy one, possibly the whatever I want for that song. So these here then mean, if I'm in preset mode, not song mode, when I go up, these will just keep doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as I say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I can actually do here then is, rather than having bank up and down, I'll make them song up and down. So if I go song down and song up, now I can play a song. I got the right presets for that. If I go up a song, some of these can be exactly the same. I don't get forced into using higher presets, or spending ages having to make preset 1, 2 and 3, 4, 5, then work out how many numbers I need, and then go, oh, I need another copy of the clean one here, and I need another copy of the distorted one here for that next patch, and all the rest of it. It's all handled by the songs. So I'm happily going from presets 1 to 5 will depend entirely on what song I'm on, and these will go up and down songs. Hooray! Lovely. So hopefully that highlights to you the benefits of using the song mode. So I would highly recommend using the song mode because it just makes your life easier. Now, one of the things is, how do you put it into song mode? Have we got a button for that? You can go into the menu. So I could do with possibly putting a menu button here. I tend to have my menu button hidden away because I don't want to accidentally end up in the menu. And there's a shortcut, so you can, if you hold down one particular button whilst you power it up, it makes it jump into menu. I think there's also, if you hit, it's like something like 6 and 7 together, or there's some certain shortcuts. But I'm too scared. I'm going to hit, say it's 6 and 7. I can't remember. You have to look it up in the manual. I'm too scared that when I stomp 6 and 7 live on stage, if I hit something wrong, it's like whoops. Then I can hit, and I meant to hit button 5 and I hit button 4 at the same time, and it gives me 4. I want to very quickly be able to hit the right button. If I've accidentally gone into the menu and the exit button somewhere else, I'm going to confuse myself. So I actually have on mine, if you go into global, I believe it's in here, you can combo button press blocking for menu and page and preset, save and copy. I always lock all of them out so that I never accidentally end up somewhere. If I really want menu, you may want these handy. If you're not in a rock band rocking out the stage and you're playing very relaxed things, using it in a studio or kind of very relaxed things in a church, you may not want to be. You may want access to them, but to me, it's just too much of a liability. I lock out of all of the combo presses, and I will put, if I want a menu button, I'll put it somewhere. So back to the pages. This, as I say, this is a button layout. This is my main page that pops up. I say I'm using a Junior Plus. I've only got 8 buttons. But what else can I do? I can go up and down songs and change these 5 presets. But I might want to go and do so. How do I change what my set list is? So here, I'm going to make this a page select button. Now, if I make this page select button, I've got to make it go to a different page. Let's make it go to page 2. Page 2. Well then, if I've got my presets, whatever song I'm in, I can go up and down my selections of 5 as determined by each individual song in here. Or as I say, it doesn't necessarily need to be a song. If you think of it as a set of layouts, then yep, it could be that when I play AC/DC covers, I use this set of sounds. When I play Bon Jovi covers, I use this set of sounds. When I'm playing a death metal song, I always use these set of sounds. So it's as song based or as layout based or whatever as you want, but it's an arrangement of presets. Anyway, I've probably hammered that home hard enough. So back to my pages here. I've got a page 2. If I go to page 2, I might make this the, let's call it an IA page. Yeah. Let's stick to kind of similar to how I use my complete main layout. If I call that IA page, I might then want IA page. So I may then want to go on here. This here, I might have a whole load of IAs. At the moment, I've only got 2. But I might have all sorts of things. Like I might have, say on my delay pedal, like my Strymon, for example, I've got a infinite sustainy button where if I hold it down, it does a hold function on a specific thing. So I might program that into an IA slot. So let's just make up another fun one. Let's say that I'm going to send a MIDI command to my delay. It's a CC one. It's CC. Who knows what CC? Let's say it's 12, and that's 127 again. Obviously, a lot of these IA slots, well, you can set fixed levels. You can make something step if it's got a value. You use your imagination with what you can do here, but from what a lot of the time when I'm doing an IA slot, it's an on-off thing. Generally, it could be a step the mix up, step the mix down, toggle between 2 different amounts of delay, for example, if you want. But yeah, the obvious way, or you CC things, is to toggle stuff. So here's another on. So let's call this one here let's call that timeline hold function. Yeah. I'll do TL hold. Yeah. So this here, normally an IA slot, it's an on or off thing. So I'd hit it once, it turns it on. I turn it off, hit it again, it turns it off. What you can do here, if it's a hold function and my timeline's hidden away in a rack or somewhere where I can't get to it, I can make it momentary. So when I hold it down, it sends this. When I take my foot off, it will turn it off again. So if you've got various hold functions and MIDI things like that, hooray, momentary things. One of the things I haven't gone into here is these all on-off colours and all the rest of it. I'll leave you to experiment for that. I'm probably already going on for a stupidly long video, and I'm only trying to do a basic overview to get people started. And hopefully not make you go too far the wrong path and then think, have a eureka moment when you've spent 5 days or a month programming it, and then suddenly just think, I wish I'd used songs instead of banks or something like that. So anyway, I've gone off on a slight tangent making my A slot one. But if I go back to my pages, so here I can have a set of IA slots. So look, it's automatically filled in. That's my Meris on off because I'm on. That was there. So not preset. I'm making IA slots. Put in an IA slot. Meris on off. Oh look, I've got my fuzz pedal loop, and then here I'm going to have another IA slot, and I'm going to make that my timeline hold. And last but not least, how many slots have I got? Oh, I think I might be out. Oh, boo! I've only got. If you see the amount of IA slots I've got hundreds. Well, I'm not sure hundreds, but I've got over 150. Put it that way. So anyway, there's so many things you can do with this thing. It's great. It's the entire center of my crazy thing. So anyway. So if I'm in the previous one, if I'm here, I can go up and down my songs. I can do my presets here, which any of these presets will automatically say if I hit this one here, which was whatever my death metal one was, or whatever, it will automatically turn the fuzz IA on for me. If I hit another one, it'll automatically turn the fuzz off for me. But if I hit this IA page button, I can then override on the fly any of these things. I can press and hold that as momentary. I can to make the delay go into a hold function. I can still turn on the fuzz. Say, for example, I could be happily in a clean patch. I can hit the IA page button. It brings you on here, and I can stuff the fuzz on. Or I can go, I'm going to stuff the synth on. Yay! I can do all this stuff on the fly, playing around. And then, as soon as I then choose another patch on the on here, so say I've stuffed the fuzz and the synth on, and I'm having a whole load of fun. If I then hit a different preset, if in that preset these are all set to off, obviously when it changes the preset it leaves them alone, but this is why I've got bypass on all of them, so I can go into say an IA page. I can turn on all of these different fun other pedals and mess about. I can then hit a different preset and bam, they all go back to what that preset function is. It switched them all out if they're supposed to be out on that preset. So it's super great for, I can turn things on, I can play about with them, I can switch things in and out, but if I hit a preset, that's the preset as it should sound, no surprises. Obviously I could, on a specific preset, depending on what I'm doing in a song, I might manually stuff some crazy fuzz on, and then I might say go back to clean, and I might want on that particular preset it to ignore and leave a certain thing on, or a delay on, or whatever. So the world's your oyster with that thing. So one thing you'll notice here is if on here I go to my lovely IA page, and I've got these things here, if I go to this page, I'm stuffed. I can't get back. So don't forget, I will need to make I normally put my page shift buttons in the same place because it just makes it easier. The page select back to main. So when I'm on main page, I can hit this, it takes me there. I can hit that, it takes me back here. Well, hey, right, so cool. We've now got a lovely little setup. It's going to change all of my devices. Depending what song I'm in, it will change what these presets do. I can hit the IA page button and it will take me to IA pages where I can manually override any of these things, and I can get back to where I was changing my presets. Now, if I play one gig and I got these songs in a specific order, let's make a set list. Show you that. So here we go. This is my set list here. This is the pub set list. Pub. And this one here, I'm going to play the Royal Albert Hall. Albert Hall. Wow. So in here, it might be that when I play the Royal Albert Hall, I'm going to play AC/DC, and then I'm going to play Bon Jovi. I'm going to play some death metal, and then I'm going to end with a lullaby. Yeah. When I'm playing down the pub, they like lots of death metal, so I might have death metal. Then they don't like lullabies in the pub, so we're just going to have some. Oh, let's keep AC/DC in that slot. Then we're going to have some Bon Jovi, because they do love a good old sing along, and then we can have some more death metal. Yeah, and that means that when I've got this set list. When I go up and down, I can change which set list I'm playing, and it will change the order of what those songs are in. So when I'm in my page here, if I've got the pub set list, clicking this will go in a different order than if I'm playing the Royal Albert Hall. Now, obviously, I need to be able to change which set list I'm doing there. So here, there's my preset page. Here, I've got my IA page, where what I'd be tempted to do, because I don't want to, if I'm in here and I'm messing about with these things, I don't want to accidentally hit my set list up or down. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to make another page. Yeah, I'm going to have a set list page. So this one here, I'm going to have a page select, and I'm going to go to page 3. So page 3, I'm going to call my set list page set list, and I'm going to make that set list. Oh, set list. Cool. So here, don't forget, I need to get back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put back in this corner, because this will be a seldom used page. I only really need to change the set list once a gig. So here, I'm going to put in another page select, and I'm going to make this go back to my main page. Yeah. So, because once I'm here, I'm probably not going to want to go back via the thing. You can have like last page and all sorts of things in these functions, but I'm just going to go straight back to main. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a function, and I'm going to make that preset up. Not preset up, I don't want that at all. I'm going to make that set list up. I'm going to make that function, and I'm going to make that set list down. And one thing to note here is this trigger scrolls button. When you do set list up, set list down, when I change set list, that can trigger all sorts of things. A specific set list can trigger my main page. It can make all sorts of other things happen. So I don't necessarily want, when I press set list up once, I don't want to trigger the scroll. Yep. So this will toggle up, like, say I got like 20 different set lists. I want to be able to click up these without it loading that set list instantly. So my trigger scrolls is off. If my trigger scrolls is off, I then need an enter button. Yep. Because I want to step up through the things and then go, okay, I want to select that set list. So rather than if that trigger scrolls is on, every time I go up, it will trigger that set list and possibly anything that comes along with it. By going up through these, I can go up, step up through a whole load of them, and then load that set list. Other thing I might want to do in the set list page, I'll be setting this once, I haven't got a menu button anywhere. If I've locked out all my menu buttons, as I mentioned, let's have a good old menu, because you may want to go in there, edit presets, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm going to put in a function, and I'm going to say, yep, menu. I'll have a menu button. The other thing I haven't got yet is what mode I'm in. As I said, if you're in preset mode, going up and down banks, yeah, there's a slight tangent I'm not going to go off into now. It's too late at night. But what I want to do is I want to have a mode button so that I can always put this back in setlist mode. If this isn't setlist mode, it may, if this is in preset mode, instead of your songs where it will use buttons 1 to 5 being whatever's in whatever song, you'll get presets 1 to 5 and you're stuffed. If you want the next ones, you have to go up. So I always want somewhere, I don't need to be accessing it all the time, but if it ends up in a different mode that I want, you can set it via the menu, but I just like having a function button that gives me my mode select. So you scroll down here, current mode. That will give me current mode so I can set it to setlist mode. So what do we have now? I have explained. Let's have a recap. I will have songs up and down, and the order of those songs will be defined by the set list. And the set list you can change by going into the IA page, which take you here, and then I can hit the set list page, and it will go in here. So I can go, oh, that's preset down. I don't want preset down. I want set list down. So I can toggle up through them and press enter. So I can choose my set list. I can go back to my main page. I can make sure it's in setlist mode as well. And if I want to, I can get into the menu. Yep. So I hit main. It will take me back to my presets. So here's my 5 presets. As I say, you can use banks, but songs just easier for my reckoning. The way I use it. So up songs, down songs. In the order that's set in the set list, we can choose which set list we're using depending what gig we're playing. All of these presets will set what different amp, delay, reverb and all the rest of it's on. I've shown you how you can make all of these auto number up to the top. I then have specific devices which may go on or off depending what different patches, and so I can have here we go, we got timeline hold here. I've actually got that off for everything. What I probably want to do is make that one of the things, if you notice as well when you poke around with this, some of these IA slots you may want to look at off the bypass color and the off color. If I've actually set these things to be off, often what I actually want to do is make that red, maybe red bright, I can't remember. I play about with the colors, but I can't definitely remember. I don't want it off. I can't remember, but if you end up finding that the LCD's blank and you wanted it to be red or something, then poke around in here. I've mentioned momentary things versus stomp things, so they toggle on and off, or they're only on when you hold them. So all of these presets here, let's just go back to one. So all of these things like loops, I'll always have all my loops set up that I always want to configure on each thing. Something like the timeline hold, that's a momentary function that can be buried anywhere further down here. So I'm going to make that bypassed. Oops, I'm going to make that bypassed, and I'm going to copy that to everything. So that is basically everything you should know to get you started. You can recall all the devices, as I say. You can toggle things on and off. Another couple of brief mentions I'll give you is you can have song programming. So you can have it so that when you go up to a song, when you select said song, one thing to note on here. One of the things I do, if you press up a song, it will instantly jump to patch 1 of that. So if you go to up a song, it will instantly stuff you on clean patch. I don't like that. If I go up a song, I might have a whole lot of things set up in a set list, but I may not necessarily be going through the set list in the right order. I mean, I might just use it as a collection of songs that I'm using. What I tend to do on all of my songs is I turn off trigger immediately and set them all to arm only. So what will actually happen is when I go up through all of these songs, they won't. Well, if I go up to say Lullaby or whatever, or I go to Bon Jovi, it won't instantly trigger Big Haul. It will show up on the screen as saying Bon Jovi, but none of the lights will be lit, and then it will only change patch if I then hit Big Haul. It will then jump at that point. It will send at that point, and so going up and down songs won't actually change my current sound until I actually hit one of my preset buttons, and then bam, it's the song's going and it's that sound. Related to that, command programming, I can have a song program, so I can make it that when I mean, depending on what you want it to, you could have some MIDI controlled lights or whatever, and every time I play Bon Jovi, it might send out a MIDI note to the lights that makes it go blue when I'm doing Bon Jovi, or when I'm doing death metal, it might go red. And that you can have it so that it will only do it the same when I choose the first of I go up to say the Bon Jovi song, nothing will happen because it's on arm only. If it was on trigger, as soon as I went to it, it'd be like bam, that would change. It would send this and make the lights go blue. What I want to do is get to that. I can have this thing there. Then as soon as I hit say lead, it will then change to that particular patch, not just the first one of the lot, and it sends this command programming at that point. So I like arm only for all of my songs. So that explains that. What else was I going to say? Oh, something else I was going to say. Expression pedals, you can do all sorts of things with them. I'm not going into that now. But yeah, hopefully this is a good start on using songs, using set lists, how presets work, how IA slots work. That was the final thing I was going to say, is on each of these presets, this here is your IA map. Yep, so effectively we've got your list of these things. So when we're in pages here, when I'm in, if I hit this button, go to IA page thing, I've got the mirror on off, the fuzz pedal, the timeline hold, those 3 things there. Now I might have 40 different IA slots. Yep, I might want these not to be those 3, depending what patch I'm in. That's where IA slots come in, because if you go to a particular preset, here you'll notice here it's got an IA slot map. That's currently set to IA map default. So when I'm on clean, when I'm on the clean patch, I will get those 3 buttons will be the mirror on off, the this, the that. By using IA maps, they're red in default IA map because you can't change them in the default IA map. They are the order that they're programmed in from 1 to whatever. If you go to this here, you can do. Let's say it's the death map for my death metal. Who knows? I'm not a big fan of death metal, but there we go. Don't know where this come from. So in here now I can actually make it so that in my IA map I've got fuzz on button 1 instead. Yep, and well, actually, this is death with a song. That's probably a bad example. Let's call this the lead map. Yep, lead map. Let's call this lead. Now if I have fuzz pedal, and then this could be, say I've got some lovely exciting IA slot 10 here and some lovely IA slot 19 here. if I now go to my presets here, all of these are using the default IA map. On lead, I could change this to use my lead map. So that means whenever I'm in my pages here, whenever I go to my IA page, all that use the default map will have the mirrors, the fuzz pedal, and the timeline hold. When I'm on my lead patch here and I'm rocking away, I've hit button number 3 for lead, I'm playing that. Then if I jump into my IA map page, then all of a sudden I've got the 3 totally different stompy things that I like having available when I use my lead sound. Similarly, I can make a third IA map that I might have. I might have some a particular sound that I use that's got a looper in, say, for example. Now I can work out what these. I can work out for my looper what the things for this are. So I could make a record button, play button, and a stop button, say, and set those as IA slots. One thing I might want for that is I might want a quick tap where it doesn't have an on and off state. It's just effectively got a trigger state, and then this gets grayed out. So I could have it so that when I'm on, I could have an IA map that's a looper map, and I could have play, record, stop, or whatever. And then whenever I'm in a preset that you have the looper map, as soon as I'm here playing away in songs, in whatever preset that has the looper map on, whenever I'm then in the pages here, whenever I flip to my IA page, I've got play, record, and stop handy instead of my synthy sound, my fuzzy thing, and my other whatnot. So that there, I think, is probably an epic lowdown on. If you understand all of that and you get all of that, then that will, hopefully by this point you're thinking, wow, this thing's brilliant. I can have any buttons to stomp anything I like that all change depending entirely what sound I'm currently using, and what sounds are currently spread out in front of me can easily be sat there ready and available in songs, all laid out, so you can happily just get on stage. You can hit your set list, choose your set list before you start going, and you can just play. You got, in this example, 5 sounds per song, and then you just play the song, you hit up a song, you've got the right 5 sounds for that song, you hit the next song up, you're just stepping through your songs as you're playing your set. And if you got any particular sound, you can just jump to a page where you can have instant access of any buttons that specifically relate to that particular sound you're on. So hopefully that's me waffling away for far too long, but yeah, well, hope you like it. I hope somebody bothers to watch this. I hope it's useful to some of you. So yeah, if you have watched it and you've got this far, well, thank you for watching. And yeah, any things you want to know, ask away. And any specific things, I mean, there's buttons, you can have step things, but what I may actually do next, if people like this, is I might do a quick example. Well, there's actually a very long-winded waffly my entire pedal board video on my channel, which is actually out of date now. I might do a more concise multi-part one, but basically you won't, if I do an explanation of all the things I do with my Liquid Foot, you won't get it unless you understand these basics. So hopefully this, yeah, learn this, and you've got a great starting place to really use this as an incredibly powerful MIDI controller. And from there on, all of the other stuff's icing on the cake. That if you want to do something crazy, you probably can, is the answer. So yeah, Have fun.